As we wait for Insomniac's Spider-Man 2, I wanted to take a step back and look at Miles Morales and just how awesome of a project that was, and I'd like to discuss a similar project that I would like to see Insomniac Games tackle next. The great thing about Spider-Man Miles Morales was A, that it allowed us fans to have something to play while we waited for the full sequel, Spider-Man 2. We didn't just have to wait 5 years between releases, and it also allowed Insomniac to tell a bit of a smaller story while testing out some new gameplay mechanics before fully implementing them into Spider-Man 2. But as I've thought about other small stories or characters that they could make these smaller scale games for, there's a few obviously that have come up. It would be interesting to see a standalone Venom game, or maybe a game based on Gwen Stacy where you're playing as Spider-Woman. Heck, they could even make a Black Cat and Silver Sable team-up game. But there is one in particular that I've had as an idea for a while that just has not ever really left my mind, and that is a Peter Parker origin story that we could play through. In many previous Spider-Man games we've played as a younger Peter Parker, usually one who's just graduated high school, and Insomniac didn't want to repeat that, and so they gave us a Peter Parker who's 8 years into his career. He's 23 in the first game, but I do think that going back to when he's 15 and initially gets that spider bite would be a really interesting time to explore in the video game medium. One thing that Insomniac has that many other Spider-Man games did not have the luxury of having is the ability to give some cinematic storytelling through gameplay. Most Spider-Man games have not portrayed the moments where Peter Parker is bitten by the spider, because how do you make that gameplay fun? But I think that Insomniac could find a way, and having a game where you start by getting bit by the spider, getting to play through where he tries to seek fame in the wrestling ring and then has Uncle Ben pass away and chases Uncle Ben's killer, and maybe faces his first real supervillain or two in the open world, all while allowing us to see his early relationships with characters like MJ and Harry and Norman Osborn, would be really compelling. The gameplay could have some fun by going backward instead of forward and taking away features, amping up the stealth rather than close combat, and giving players a bit more of a challenge. They could make the web swinging something more akin to Spider-Man 2 from 2004, where you have to press more buttons in order to successfully pull off certain stunts, and overall we could just have a bit more of a challenge as we played as a less experienced Peter Parker. Now, I obviously understand if this is not something that Insomniac wants to pursue. There's a reason that they didn't start the first game earlier in his career as Spider-Man. This is ground that has been covered very well, but I do think that the Insomniac universe is just different enough from other mainstream Spider-Man stories that it could be fun to go back and see their take on it. The world building in the 2018 is great, and honestly that does give us enough coverage that I don't think we need to go back, but it would be a fun little side story for us to go experience. I also feel like there's things that you could throw into the game to make it a little bit more compelling than just, hey, it's Peter Parker's origin. Like maybe Daredevil is involved in the story. Maybe Peter has his first encounter with an Avenger or an X-Men or something. Another possibility is that if Peter is in Queens for this game, they could actually take away the Manhattan part of the map and the Brooklyn part of the map and just set it completely in Queens, give us a much smaller but more dense open world with some side content to do. Again, this is obviously not something that I need, but I do think that it would be a great contender for a smaller scale Spider-Man game between Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, assuming that Insomniac, which they probably will, does do a Spider-Man 3 game. But as always, I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the comments below. If Insomniac does do another small scale Miles Morales size game, which character or characters would you like that to be focused on? Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we will see you guys